Um, what I don't know how much of the game you got a chance to see then since you were working, but 26 to nothing, and the defense, Mark, was spectacular. Now
Yeah.
I had a texter say earlier in the show, "Oh, Bob's easily impressed." I'm like, they shut out an NFL team for the first time in over a decade. That just doesn't. Even the Titans put up 3 against Jacksonville this week. The shutouts aren't that common in the NFL. You got to give credit where
Yeah.
I understand the Vikings aren't great, and they had a free agent rookie quarterback out there making rookie mistakes. I get it, but still, to shut him out is still a thing, is it not?
No, there no question. Of the 5 sacks, they only came one time with an added pressure, which was a dog with a linebacker. So it was four guys on the 5 sacks, consistent pressure on the offensive line. I tell you that their right guard, Fries, he got beat so fast by Big Cat
Yeah.
that I don't think it was a second and a half before Big Cat had the quarterback on the ground. And the only thing faster than that sack was Will Fry sticking his hand out to help the quarterback up. I would cut him right there on the spot. I like you can't like you. I mean, he just turned around and stuck his hand out there like, "Hey, partner, how you doing? Let me help you up." And I was just like, "Dude, get out!" I wanted to cut him. I like if I was playing with him, I'd want to hit him. So yeah, that they were spectacular up front. They were spectacular creating pressure. The 4 interceptions. They were just a dominant group. And I thought one of the cool things is I went back and kind of studied it before I came on the show is like I love this aspect of football. What do we have to do to win this game? And ultimately they were going to be good on the defensive side. They knew they'd be able to create pressure. They knew they'd be able to create some turnovers and do those things. Offensively, only 14 completions. Um, I thought it was exceptional. Just throwing the ball outside the numbers, stick routes, quick slants. It was all basically 3-step balls out, little spots in the middle of the football field. Everything was basically let's get the ball out of our hands because we know Minnesota's propensity to bring pressure. We know about their blitz packages. We know about Brian Flores and all those things. And so it was this complimentary football to me that was like, hey, man, if we score 13 points, we're going to win. That's what it felt like to me watching them play on the offense. I think they had two explosive runs. One by Walker, one by the other cat, whatever his name
Charbonnet.
is, I forget. Yeah, Charbonnet for the touchdown, and both of those, I think Charbonnet's was like 17 yards. I think Walker had one that was about 24 yards, and then a couple of 10-yard passes. I think they had. I don't know. I don't believe they had an explosive pass play. If you count explosive pass plays as about 17 to 20 yards, I don't think they had one. Um, I think they just lived in that quick game realm and understood what we have to do to be successful and what we have to do to protect our quarterback. And I just think that stuff is brilliant. Like that is brilliant because of course you'd like to see him, hang 50 on everybody, right? But that's how eventually you get yourself into trouble. You get strip sack fumble, you get your quarterback hitting the ribs, and the next thing you know, he's out for 3 weeks. Like I thought that part of it was brilliant by Seattle, and just goes to show you that they're a smart football team, an incredibly well coached football team. They know exactly who they are and what they're trying to accomplish. So I think that stuff kind of goes unsaid, but I think that's the stuff that sets apart the good teams from the bad teams.
Hey, you mentioned Will Fries there, and that was a guy that a lot of people were upset that the Seahawks didn't get him in free agency. He's making like $88 million, his contract. And like you said, I mean, it wasn't even a bull rush by Big Cat. I mean, he went around him. And there was
Yeah.
a couple of times where he just went through him like water. And I remember he was like a medical thing. Like Schneider is very picky about, getting a physical done, and they wanted to get a
Uh,
physical, and he didn't want, or he had, already an offer on the table. But has he entirely not worked out? Or I watched a couple of games, but yeah, I mean, you being an ex-guard, or was that just that Big Cat is that good?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was that particular pass rush was absolute garbage technique on his part. But I don't know. I mean, I have not. I've not done a Minnesota game, so I haven't studied. I haven't really looked at Minnesota except for this game, and I thought he was awful in this game. And so I don't know, $88 million. I mean, $80 million doesn't get you what it used to get you, I guess. Because I mean, I was watching some of those sets, and I was like, damn, I like that is that's not good. And
Yeah.
listen, man, I'm not going to take away from Big Cat because that dude can play.
Yeah.
And I thought their whole group, I thought the way they rushed the passer, the games they used, how they play off one another, how unselfish they are up front. Like I said, there was only one, and I don't call it a blitz, I would call it a dog where you brought a fifth guy, because you still play zone behind that. Um, there was only one, and that was your guys' 42 guy who just crushed a running back. I think it was Ham that he crushed in the backfield. So um yeah, really tied together, play hard. It's fun to watch. I thought their back end, their secondary was great. The Reek Woolen interception on a cover three where he split the two verticals and read the quarterback and jumped the seam was awesome. I just thought the whole thing was pretty awesome.
You win 26-0 and you start going, okay, it can't be this good, right? So
Right.
what's going on? But as far as like Brian Flores' defense, I thought they ran that really well. And I don't know if they just had a really good day or it was the Seahawks offensive line, but yeah, I mean, that JSN doesn't get a catch until the third quarter.
Right.
Anything that is overly concerning to you with the Seahawks?
No, I just again, um, I look at it more from a game planning standpoint. Like, what do we have to do to win this game? And more importantly, how do we get out of this game without doing what we did in the Rams game? Like we should have beat the Rams. And we lost 21-19 because we turned the ball over four times. And what now the Rams are a much better offense, right? So you've got to push the ball down the field a little bit. You've got to take some chances. You just can't play all quick game where you're throwing it out to the edges on bubble screens and quick stick routes and quick speed outs and all that stuff. So it's different. But to me, that was just really smart coaching. This is what we have to do to win this game. And and so I look at it more like that is really smart coaching. As you said, JSN, had a couple catches late. I think he had two catches total. Um, but that was their game plan, man. Three step, get the ball out. Let's not get our quarterback hit, and let's make sure we, end every possession in a kick. And as cliche as that is, that's what I think they were doing. And ultimately, you get a 26-0 win. Hard to get shutouts in this league. Hard to win like that. Obviously, one of them was a pick six. But by the way, the big lumbering tight end from Minnesota on a pick six, 84. He was just running like, I mean, there's no way he's going to catch. What was it, Ernest Jones? There's no
Ernest
way he's
Jones,
going to
yeah.
catch him, right? There's just zero chance. I got to teach that kid how to kind of lean yourself out of the picture. So you just run really hard, and you look really good, and then you just
Just
and then
fade.
the next thing you know, you're gone. You're just history, right? And instead of just lumbering down the field, and you're like the whole time you're chasing him, you're like, I was watching going, there's no way that cat's gonna catch that dude. You need to get yourself off film so you can stop running and go back to the sideline.
Just had to fade.
I don't know who that kid is, but just a lack of veteran presence right there on the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah.
I used to do it. I used to every interception, man. For about 6 steps, I'd burst, and then I would start going because you know how the camera follows everything. You see how the camera follows everything. So I just burst my ass off. And then like I said, I just start leaning toward the sideline because I know they would lose me. And then I would just dead stop after that. Like,
Savvy.
all right, see ya.
That's a wily veteran right
That's
there,
right.
Mark
Yeah.
Schlereth. Hey, what did you make of your guy Aaron Rodgers? There's a lot of unhappiness in Steelers town. They're calling for Mike Tomlin's job now. Aaron Rodgers is throwing his receivers under the bus, saying, when there's film sessions, everybody shows up. And when I check to a route, you do the right route. And then he called out Jonnu Smith. They tried to connect with him on a play in the end zone. He said Jonnu and I just weren't on the same page. I checked to his in-breaker. He ran an outbreaker. Jonnu is a true professional, so I'm sure he's sick about that. I mean, I get it. Things happen, guys. Most people out here were hoping he was mad at DK. I don't know. Maybe he's mad at him too. But just kind of throwing the receivers under the bus and then throwing Jonnu out there on that one, I thought was interesting.
Yeah, well, I mean, he did it last year when, when he was with the Jets, he did the same thing. You got to run the red line. Remember the deep ball he threw that got picked off, and yeah, I mean, I was watching that game, so I got done calling my game, and I was stuck at the airport in Fort Lauderdale. So I was sitting in the United Club because I got it like that, and and having a snack, and I was watching that game, and he gets hit by Joey Bosa. I was talking about this on my Stink of Truth podcast. He gets hit by Joey Bosa, and it looked like he broke his nose. I mean, it was just miserable, and they flashed to him on the sideline. He's got that bandage on his nose. It's all cut up, right? He's got the broken wrist. And they flashed at one point he has, that rubber wedding ring on. And I was just like, man, he just looks like he'd much rather be home with his alleged wife than than being at that game, just getting the living piss beat out of him. So I don't know.
His alleged
that was my thought process.
You've got some doubts about the wife, huh?
Yeah, wait. Like nobody's ever actually seen her. So I'm just saying, until I get some visual proof, alleged.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Hey, Mark, when you look around, I was disappointed on, what was it, Friday? I think it was a Friday game, Philly and the Bears. And, I was kind of hoping that the Chicago Bears, just because they're in the NFC, that maybe they're not for real, but appears that they are. And, they ran for a ton of yards, and they look like they're the real deal. Any teams like, you look at the Patriots, we get a chance to see them tonight. They're 10-2. Are there, have some of these, teams with good records, have proven it to you? You think that they're playoff teams?
Yeah, the Bears are interesting to me because the Bears are doing this, and their quarterback is still, a real work in progress. As far as playing on time, he's consistently, completing 50. I think he was maybe 47%, 51%. He hasn't been like deadly when it comes to great completion percentage and all that stuff. But when things break down, he makes some plays, and he makes some big plays. And, I was talking to Ben Johnson, the head coach, probably middle of September. And he was just like, we were just talking about Caleb and kind of the process and the growth process and how hard he's working and all that stuff. And then he was like, hey man, wait till you watch us on film. If you get one of our games, because what we invested in our offensive line, we're going to be good up front, especially, inside the numbers, like or between the tackles. We're going to be really, really good. And we're going to be, a dominant offensive line, dominant defensive line. And, you think about Ben Johnson with all the bells and whistles and what Detroit was able to do over the years and all those things, you think about, creative play calling, and there's always a trick play. The bottom line, it always comes back to, can you dominate the line of scrimmage? Look at what the Seattle Seahawks did defensively. You dominate the line of scrimmage, you win in this league. And that's really where they hang their hat. And, as much as we like to hire offensive guys and gurus and all this stuff about, throwing the ball and all that stuff, it's the guys who really know how to protect the quarterback, how to run the football, how to maintain and capture the line of scrimmage and basically mitigate potential disaster up front. Those are the guys, to me, who understand what it takes to win in this league. And that's one of the things that Chicago does. So they're not getting the best of best quarterback play, and they've got a lot of weapons. but he's making plays when he has to make plays, and he's good enough at keeping them on schedule that he's been really good. New England will be interesting because their whole left side of their line is injured right now. The two rookies out there, Wilson and Campbell, who've been really, really good for them, both of those guys are hurt, so they're out for multiple weeks now. So you're going to change that whole offensive line. That'll be interesting because early in the season, a lot of sacks given up. Drake May was taking a lot of sacks. Will that alter this offense? I think one guy that's a great play caller, Josh McDaniels, is all of that. So he'll have a plan to try to mitigate some of that potential disaster. They're really good. Denver last night, coming off the bye week. In their 9-game win streak, they have trailed in every one of those games.
Mm-hmm.
9 straight wins. They've trailed in every one of those games. And, defensively was the first time where they haven't, they weren't dominant like they normally are, especially rushing the passer. But offensively, they've just been as good as they need to be whenever they seem to need it to be. Like they're that consummate complementary football team that just finds a way to battle. And then there's a team that I can't figure out, and I've done a bunch of their games, the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
Like your guess is as good as mine. They're the most mercurial team in football. One weekend, it looks like their quarterback couldn't play dead in the Western. And then the next weekend, he makes half a dozen throws. Now, the one thing is, again, has this breakout game against the Rams. He threw it 20 times, right? I think he had 14 completions. They don't let him throw it a lot, but they're a team that I just can't figure out. I really can't.
I'm glad they had a good week this week, though. Nice to see him knock off the Rams.
Yep.
Yes.
Mark, always great stuff, man. We appreciate you, my friend. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll do it again next week.
Sounds good, guys. Be good.
Thanks, buddy.
There you go. Mark Schlereth with us each and every week. Great stuff from him. I love the alleged wife. I love that.